Live. Hey, 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 it's 6:28.
628. We in the building.
We here. I got my water with me.
And
I'm
I
gonna,
got my water too.
okay, pull up. Are you pulling up Facebook? Let me know if you see
Wait,
if we're live.
let me see if I see it. Let me go to your page.
As a matter of fact, let me go on here.
It don't say you live right there.
Yeah, it's live now.
Well, I don't see the little button live. Oh Lord,
Okay.
don't start.
That
Oh,
might have
I
been the
don't.
test. Yeah, we live.
Okay, I wanna invite some people on here.
Are you able to share?
Wait, I don't know. I gotta see find you. Oh, I
I'm
don't see
looking at you
you.
now. It's showing
You
me.
you looking at me?
Make a comment.
Make a comment on this
Uh
page right
huh.
here.
Uh huh. Like how you did this morning. It's on all three. It's on my profile page. It's on Carla Scipio.
Did you see what I just write? Wait, I'm trying to find you live so I can. You said I gotta. Let me see. No, I don't see you live.
Okay, let me.
So ain't nobody gonna. They not gonna see me live.
It's on live. I'm seeing it now. Let me. Okay, let me see. Can I share this? Somebody already shared it. Let me share it.
I'm not even talking now, but it's still. It's
It's an echo. It's me. Hey,
okay.
Alicia.
See, well, I can't see anybody. Oh, I can't see anybody joining or anything. Here we go. Yeah, I don't see you. Let me go down, down, down. There's.
Okay, so it's
There
kind of
you are.
late.
But where?
Can you
Join us
share?
this evening. I don't see you live.
I see you. I see myself.
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh well, I'm not gonna worry about it. But I don't know how to invite. I don't can't invite anybody on. When I click you on Facebook, I just see your picture and it doesn't say live. Did you see where I said, "Hey everyone"?
um,
Hmm.
okay, I'm gonna come off of this because it's throwing me off. Alicia, can you share back on my page? She said. Okay, she watching on YouTube. So put on your page so they can watch on the YouTube. Um, on YouTube, Carla Scipio, or they can go to my page and they can see it for themselves. Carla Scipio is
So
public, and they can see it for themselves.
let me see. Is I don't know. Let me go to my other page and see if I see if it's different. If that's where I can see you live. No, I don't even see you on my author page at all.
Can I add? Let me see. Can I um
Hmm.
let me see if I can add someone else. No, I can't.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so just tell them to do that and tell them to they can go to
Girl,
you.
I'm gonna have a whole
We're
conversation. I
master.
ain't gonna
We're
worry
master.
about it. They gonna say they don't know how and stuff. They gonna be worse than me. They gonna start calling me. Watch. Like how do I see you? Like
Okay,
let me
so
see out.
it's 6:32.
Do you see Pauline? You know she usually hops right
I
on.
don't see anybody.
Because
I
we
think
not it's not Facebook Live because I don't see
it's
you.
Facebook Live because I'm seeing it on my phone. I went to Facebook. Alicia, can you see it on? Let me ask Alicia, can she see it? Because I
Let me
went to my page.
let me
I
call
went
my
to my
girlfriend and
profile.
see. Yeah. Bing.
Look, it's on. Look, it's on Facebook Live.
Well, I can't see you live. My own self. Like, can you? Hey, love. Go on Facebook Live and see if you can see. I can't see myself. Or, but I'm gonna give you the lady's name to go look at her to see if you can see me on her page. Cause I don't know. Just see. Her name is the same lady that's that from my post. All right. Okay. Bye. Bye.
What's your Facebook page?
Renee Henry. Renee Henry.
Okay, cause she just tagged us. She did it on Facebook. She did it on YouTube too. Oh Lord.
But I'm gonna give you the lady's name to go look at her to see if you can see me on her page. Cause I don't know, just see. Her name is the same lady that's that from my post. All right. Okay.
Um,
Bye. Bye.
see if you can share. It's not here. Let me see. I'll delete this.
I just put say go to Carla Scipio. So
Yeah, I just saw where you tagged me. I'm trying to figure out how to share this. All right, we're gonna go ahead because we'll be able to share it. Let's see. I tagged that as well. I added that to my thing as well.
well, you can see if somebody leave a comment or something, cause I can't.
There's two people looking at now. I can't tell. Okay, Alicia looking at both of them. She shared them. She shared one to YouTube, and she's saying, "Hey." So she's saying, "Hey," so she can share it. Alicia, are you able to share it back on my page? All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We can share it again on Facebook from YouTube because I know YouTube is gonna share it, and also StreamYard is gonna keep it. Yeah, she said she just shared it. Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook Live. Um we're trying new things, and every time you try something different, even when you practice, and even when you did everything that you're supposed to do, you get hicks. But we're not going to prevent us or stop us from actually moving forward with. But moving forward with our conversation of today, I'm really excited. I am Carla Scipio from I Am Carla Scipio, nurse, mother, grandmother, author, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. I can be found on Instagram at I am Carla Scipio, Carla with a K, Scipio Scipio. I am so excited, really excited that I actually have author J. Renee here with me. We share many things in common. We're both mothers. You know, those are some of the roles that we play. Grandmothers. She beat me back. She a great grandmother. I ain't get
I
there
beat
yet.
her.
That's a privilege, y'all. That's an honor to be able to be here. I'm really excited. Renee, we actually worked together years ago at a hospital, and there was something about her presence. When she came up to the floor, she was smooth, she was calm, no issues, no concerns. She handled her business, and that was one of the things that I admired about her. But when I told her about what I was doing, she really acknowledged the work. And as a storyteller, because I come from a family of storytellers, and we've been telling stories. We've had women share their stories. All This is actually our third season of women telling their stories. So we've had women tell their stories all season. We've had a doula, a registered nurse that talked about bias and implicit. We've had women discuss their trauma of childbirth. We have different things. So today we're going to talk about relationships. I believe that it's so important that we have intergenerational conversations so we can talk, different women of different generations coming together to share the wisdom that we have, and we can hear what's going on currently with the women so we too can learn. We can all learn from each other. And the reason why it's so important to me, because I come from women who poured into me. So I want to take this wisdom that I have and pour it into other women. J. Renee, author, thank you for coming on. Thank you for pushing past all of the obstacles. Thank you for your positive mindset. And we really appreciate you in the space with us this evening. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to honor us with your presence. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and thank you so much for having me. And this is my first time being interviewed with Miss Carla Scipio, and she knows I am nervous because I have no idea what she's going to ask me. Therefore, I have no idea what will be coming out of my mouth.
Well, the first thing is, this is going to be a conversation. This ain't no interview. We're going to have a conversation like we're at work, and
Okay.
we have
Ooh.
no patience, and we can just talk for a little while, and we're sitting at lunch. So it's like you having a conversation with your girlfriend. So relax,
Mm-mm.
and just we're gonna go with the flow. So tell me who Renee is. I know that you're from up north, but tell me who Renee is, where you from, what make you get up every morning and make you move.
Okay. I am originally from Poughkeepsie, New York. Uh, I lived there till I was about 10, and my parents separated and I moved to Newark, New Jersey. So basically, Newark, New Jersey is where I grew up. Moved to Georgia when I was 30 something, but I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. And I worked in healthcare for 44 years.
Wow.
Can't wait to retire. Hopefully, between now and the next few months, I can pursue my writing career because that's what I enjoy. Um, yes, I'm a mom. I just love being around my children. And I have 12 grandchildren and 6 great grandchildren. So Carla will not be able to catch me no matter what she does. Because I'm still moving. They're not finished yet. So
Oh wow.
she can't catch me. Um, yeah, that's me.
So Renee, what makes you get up every morning? What makes you move? What makes you get out of that bed and say, I gotta do this?
Well, actually, what has made me move for the past 43 years, it are my children. They have made me move in a maybe a better direction. There were times in my life when I was headed not in the right direction. I didn't even realize I wasn't because what I was doing that wasn't right was really it was fun to me. So, my children helped me move in a better direction. Not always right, but so that's what helps me to get up in the morning. My children. I look forward to spending time with them, and my children motivate me.
Okay. Um, which that is a positive thing. But what
Here she go
motivates?
trying to dig deeper. She wasn't satisfied with that answer,
No,
guys,
because
because
we're
she's
gonna
about
get
to
down
ask
to
me
the
the
nitty
same
gritty.
question.
We're gonna get down to the nitty gritty. That girl Renee that's deep down there inside, that's hiding. That author Renee, the one from Poughkeepsie, the little girl that's in the room peeping out from behind the blinds and shades. What's that girl? What's going on with
Oh
that
Lord.
girl?
What is going on with that? What is going on with that girl?
Because we're gonna have some real conversations, and
Okay.
I know you going.
Oh
I
wait,
know that
which
you're
girl you
authentic.
want to know what's going on with?
I
Which
want to
girl?
know about the little girl.
Oh, the little girl. She was a happy little girl until her parents separated. That was a sad time. Um, and I talk about that in my book. Um, and when my parents broke up, that was a really sad time for me, but I got happy. I adjusted to being raised by a single mom. My father wasn't out of the picture. He would visit on holidays and birthdays and Christmas and all that good stuff, and I was able to go back to Poughkeepsie to visit my dad and his new family. I didn't realize till much later on that the little girl, she didn't like that. Because I guess I pretended well. I adjusted to the situation because I didn't have a choice, but I really didn't like it. I didn't realize how much I didn't like it until I grew up. Somewhere inside of me, I always hoped that my parents would get back together, but that never happened. And I think that happens to a lot of children. We have to go with the flow because we don't have a choice. We're kids. But somewhere inside of me, I always wished that my parents would get back together. And I hated that, he was with another family and not us.
So you felt that affected the woman that you became, the teenager that you became, the young woman that you became, and even today, do you feel that still affects you? How do you see it playing a role in the Renee that's talking to me now?
Well, okay, I'm an old lady now, guys, so I don't think I'm really affected by it now. But a huge part of my life as a young woman, I was definitely affected by it. I think I was searching for my mother. I was the youngest for a long time. Then when I was 13, my mom had another baby. Then when I was 17, she had another baby. So, I was no longer the baby. So I started um, trying to fill the void. I lost my mom's attention somewhat, and then of course my dad's because he was in upstate New York where he lived, raising another family. Um, so then I turned to boys because I think I was looking for something. I was trying to fill a void. So
So you said that with the would you call that dysfunction or
yeah, I would call it. I Of course, as a kid, you don't call anything dysfunction. You don't even know what that is. You don't identify with something that's being dysfunction. But I guess when I found out that my dad um was not my biological dad, and I think I was about 12 then. That affected me in the worst way. But I can tell you that now because I'm grown and I've had some therapy, and so that's how I know what it is. But I had no idea, that I was trying to fill a void. I had no idea that I was affected. You know, um, I just started hanging out with a lady that was much older than me, about 15 years, and she started teaching me some things that I thought was fun. And then I got promiscuous, and the story goes on. You can read it right here in this book.
yeah, we're gonna talk about that book because that first book of yours that I read, I could it left me with my mouth open like this. I couldn't see the woman that I worked with or the one that I speak with now doing some of the things. And I know they said that we can't judge a book by its cover. And I believe that things that happen to us dictates how we see life, how we behave, and some of the things that we do. So I know you didn't go into details, but what was some of the things that that lady taught you that affected the way that you behave and the way that you think? Because we have to be so mindful of who pour into our lives, because they help set us off on different paths.
Oh, well, yeah, she set me off on the path of promiscuity. What she taught me is how, uh, what she taught me about men is definitely don't be sleeping with no boys that don't have no money. Don't sleep with boys. Sleep with men that can pay you. You
Amen.
need to get paid.
So she said,
So
I mean,
basically, basically,
sex work free.
she taught me how to be a little prostitute. Okay,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you don't. Your boyfriend, who is he? Does he have a job? Does he have any money? And he as a matter of fact, he didn't have a job, even though he was older than me. But he was on um, what did they call it then? Forget it. He was on welfare. But I didn't know. All I knew is he got a check every month, so I didn't care. I was about 15 years old. It didn't matter to me. He got a check. He can buy me some things. We go out. That was all I needed. But my friend, the older one, said had to get rid of him. Why was he getting a check? And then I start and doing some investigation. And basically he was getting a check because poor thing, he wasn't like my mother said, the boy is crack brain. Stop, it ain't funny. It's not funny. I'm glad, thank God I can look back at it now and laugh.
And
You
laugh.
know,
Yeah.
but sometimes when I think about it, it makes me sad. But yeah, my mother told me something is not wrong, something is not right with that boy. That boy is crack brain.
Hmm.
And old folks, y'all know what that means. My mother was saying he was a little off, but he didn't seem off to me, you know. But basically, I learned the hard way. Something wasn't his elevator wasn't really going all the way up. That's why he was getting a check because
And
I
sometimes we
was
see what we
15, but
want
he
to
was
see.
21, so he was still too old.
Yeah. And sometimes we see what we want to see. And
I
sometimes
just
you
saw,
know it
oh, he
deep down
cute.
inside.
All
Yeah.
I saw was, oh, he fine. Girl, stop. He is cute. And he get a check. I didn't know the check was probably whatever it was, $500, $600. That's supposed to take care of you. I didn't know that. I just knew he got
Hmm.
a check. He had money far as I was concerned. 15, he had money.
Yeah. He had a regular check coming in.
Right.
Most definitely.
He
He had
dressed
a regular
nice.
check.
Yeah, it didn't matter to me. Do he have a job? I guess somebody calling me, they can't get on, but I can't help it.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah.
So tell me about your values. You know, I know with your parents moving from the south to the north, or at least your family members, that there were certain core values that were instilled in us. And I know you talked about that period of time when you, because of the lack of attention, that might be the wrong phrase, but because of all the things that was going on in your life, your mom and your dad, the divorce, they separated, you were looking for different ways and things to do. But as we stand here today, have your core values then shifted to what your core values are today? Or did you have any core values? Do you remember anything that they told you that you shouldn't do this, how you should be, all of that kind of stuff? How is the woman today as it relates to what she value and what she believe in different from that 16-year-old or even a 21-year-old, Renee?
Well, I guess I'm going to say that I was always honest. So I was always honest as a girl. I can't tell you anybody sat me down
Mm-hmm.
and a correction. Neither one of my mother was born in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, but she only lived there till she was 4, and then she moved north. And my father, he never lived in the South. He was always lived in Poughkeepsie, New York. So I guess it's fair to say both my parents were Northerners. They weren't churchgoers. So, most people's story, oh, you don't down south they don't play, and most of my friends that I know that were southern, they had Christian values. I didn't have that. Actually, my mom told me when I was a kid, when I wanted to go to church with some of my friends, she allowed me to go, but my mother was brought up in church, and so she didn't bring us up in church because she didn't agree with how she was brought up. She said she seen so much going on in the church, she wasn't gonna she didn't teach us that, my sister and I. She didn't teach us that because she didn't believe in it because she was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
She said they would tell her about she would hear them saying, the 10-year-old preacher is coming to town, and the church would make a lot of money. And then she said maybe a couple years later, that same little girl would come back and they were still calling her the 10-year-old preacher. So my mom said she seen a lot going on in church, so she was not going to teach her children that. So I wasn't brought up with any I didn't have any spiritual background. I didn't get any of that until I became a full-fledged adult. So, my mom was always outspoken, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like my mom was always honest. So I learned that from my mom, but it wasn't like my mom or my dad sat me down and, you know, I watched them. That's why some of the things that I did, I'm not so proud of, but I was watching the children. Trust me, kids are always watching.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and a
do
lot of
copy.
parents say,
Mm-hmm.
"Do as I say, not as I do." I was not that type, but please, ain't nobody listening to that. We do as y'all do. The parents, we
You
do
sure
as
right.
y'all do. Okay, that's what we do. Behind your back, we do as y'all do. So,
And even later on in life, you find yourself. I remember when someone telling me that they didn't want to be like their dad, or they don't want to marry someone like their dad, and that's what they exactly what they said they weren't going to do is exactly what they did. So it may not be right then and there, but later on we do um, pick up most of their habits.
we do. And I picked up several, and I love my mom, and I think she was the best mom she could be. But I actually said the same thing as the person you said. Not gonna raise my kids like my mom did me, because my mom was super lenient, you know. And she was young, so I remember being in the bar with my mom, and I wasn't 18, and she taught me my first drink. I can remember it was something called Kiafa and orange juice. I couldn't even tell you what that is now, but yeah. So, and I know, she didn't mean me no harm. She did the best she could.
Right. And I know you and I talked about that, being honest um, about our mother, women being honest about their mother daughter relationships. And then we do, and I can say this for me, we do tend to imitate our moms in a lot of things.
Now, one
And,
thing I do like that I watched and I picked up
mhm.
was my mom always said, "Speak up for yourself." Now, she did sit me down and say that. Don't let nobody run over top of you. Speak up for yourself no matter what. And to anybody that knows me, I'm going to speak up for myself. And I'm going to speak up for my children. And I'm going to speak up for you too in the hospital if you can't. And I see somebody mistreating you. And that's just who I am. My son tells me sometimes, "Why'd you even butt in? That wasn't none of your business." Might not have been, but that's just my personality. It, I'll speak up for somebody else too.
So I like how you're talking about yourself. You said that you're outspoken, that you're honest, that you speak up for others. What else? Who else is Renee?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Sip, sip.
Shoot. Who else? Because we're getting out to the
Who-
nitty gritty because I want the
Oh my
young girls to
God.
understand so they can
Who
do this.
else? Who
We're having
else?
real conversations. So what else did you do, Miss Renee? Because that's what they're
Mm-mm.
going to ask you. Because, a lot of us walk around and we pretend that we were so righteous and we didn't do anything, nothing, we didn't do anything bad. But I'm gonna be real. I tried some stuff. I know my mama was crazy, so I was gonna go ahead and take the beat down, but I was gonna try something. So tell me more about Renee.
Well, I tried a lot of things because I wasn't gonna get to beat down.
Girl, I got the
And
beat
I
down.
was always honest to my mom too. Of course, some of the things I didn't tell her, but yeah, I wasn't gonna get to beat down. We had a good relationship like that. I could share
Hmm.
just about anything with my mom. We could have a conversation about it, sex, whatever. We could have a conversation. So,
And that's a positive thing because a lot of us couldn't have that type of conversation with our mom.
I have it with my grandkids. My daughter don't like it. She
Hmm.
didn't like it. She was like, "Mom, don't you ain't got to. You're you ain't got to be that honest. You ain't got to tell them that." But
Yeah.
I have three grandchildren that are adults, and 25, 23, and 22, and we have an excellent relationship, and we I am very candid with them because they need to know.
Yes.
So when I say candid, candid. My grandsons come to me asking me certain questions about sex. We do get down to the real nitty gritty. If we were having a conversation, you probably would. I don't know. I'm sure I would get a little judgment call because me and my three adult grandkids, we get raw.
I don't see anything, wrong with being raw. My grandchildren tend to giggle because they're that age, but I'm used to working as an educator and being the one they call to have these conversations about sex and relationships. And I feel as no one told me, so I want to make sure that I share correct information because I worked with a doctor, and one of the things he always said was, "Your friends don't know no better than you." And Dr. Google gonna tell you whatever. We gotta stop honoring Dr. Google, and it's our responsibilities as parents to speak the truth and to tell the children what they need to hear.
I'm probably
So,
just a little too raw.
nah,
I don't know how to be sweet about it.
girl, ain't nothing
If I just call it pretty much like I know it. I know a lot of stuff. So yeah, I do share it with my grandkids. I can't even say some stuff on this YouTube because they would probably be like bleep 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 it
girl,
out. Don't
please.
say that.
We're
Don't say
talking
that.
about being honest
Don't say
and
that.
transparent.
You
We're
know.
talking about using the correct terms and telling them what happens. Because I can tell you some stories. I've had young girls come up in there, and you didn't want me to tell some stories. The young girls come up in there and they talked about they virgins, they not having sex, blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks later, they in there, they can't walk. Why? Because they went out there and they tried stuff. So
Mm.
that's why I believe in being honest, raw, and open. So we're gonna move past that because the next time I got you, I want you to be free and say some of the things that you talk about. So tell me
Mm.
why you decided to
I can
share.
call him in here and ask him. Yeah, y'all want him too? Because he will tell you some of the things we talk about. He's not shy.
Amen. So tell me why did you decide to share your story?
Well,
Honestly.
I always liked to write.
Hmm.
When I decided to write a book, actually, it was in the early 90s. Uh, but, every time I tried to get my little manuscript to somebody, they
Hmm.
would tell me, like, well, you need a lot of money. Well, you need this. Yeah, I did need some eventually, but I didn't have any money then. Somebody put, yes, what else? What else? What? But,
Back when you were talking about your what you tell the kids.
you know what else? No, let me stop. Um, I decided to share my story just because I like to write, and it wasn't nothing all deep. Like a lot of people have a deep reason. Why did you like to share your story? Actually, I just wanted to write my story. It was therapeutic for me. I like to write, and when I have several journals, so it's a lot more books in those journals. And I wrote to release it from me. That's why the title of my second book is Dancing with My Skeletons.
Hmm.
My skeletons that I feel like you well, held me hostage. So I danced with them, let them on out the closet because so you could see who I really am. Yeah, I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of. But even though I'm not proud, I'm not ashamed either because I am who I am, you know. So I shared my story because it freed me. It freed the little girl inside of me by writing all that stuff down and getting it out.
Right.
When I held stuff in, I guess um I don't even know how to describe it, but I feel like stuff is better if it comes out. And it's out and everybody can read it. So I feel like I freed the little girl inside of me.
So it's therapeutic, it's cleansing, it's freeing as you write your story and you put it out there.
And it helped people that I didn't realize, you know. Some people said, it was educational. Some people, I've had quite a few ladies share that they've been through some of the same experiences and that they, probably would have never said anything. But once I said them, it helped them
Hmm.
dance with their own skeletons. So they might
Right.
not write a book, but they might be a little bit more liberal, sharing their story with somebody else. And who knows, they might write a book. They might ask me
Mhm.
to help them, and I will.
So let's talk about dancing with skeletons.
Let's talk about it, honey.
Yeah, because you mentioned dancing with skeletons and um, why did you name it dancing with skeletons? How did you come up with that name?
Let me see. How did I come up with that name? Because I had it. Um, well, you know the phrase "let your skeletons out the closet," and I always wished I could dance, but I couldn't. But I'll move, but I always was stiff. I ain't really had that much rhythm, and when I write it down, I can dance real good, and I feel like I dance with each one of them skeletons and let them right on out of the closet. Here they are. Some of the skeletons I dance with ain't happy because they recognized it because they recognize themselves in skeleton. These skeletons, all the skeletons ain't dead. So that's what I get a little pushback from that too. Someone has actually threatened me about my book. Yeah.
Because you said all skeletons ain't dead.
All
Some of them
skeletons
still
ain't
alive.
dead. They
They
all
still alive and they hanging on.
they still alive and I'm dancing with them, baby.
One
Hmm.
of the stories that you shared, I definitely identified with it.
Which one? Which
And
skeleton was that, ma'am?
that was the long term relationship with someone else,
Go on, call it. With someone else's.
with someone else's husband,
Yeah, someone else is.
someone else's husband.
Right. Not proud, not glamorizing it,
No, it's not.
but not ashamed. It
Can't be.
happened.
It was in the past. And knowing that it was wrong and yet still couldn't figure out why you can't break loose
Mm,
from this relationship.
I tried too. I tried to break loose more than once, and I just swore I was giving it my best shot. And moving to Georgia, oh, that was the ultimate. This is it. I am done. It's okay. Yes, I don't have to change my number and all that because I'm strong. I'm going all the way to Georgia. I'm going 800 miles from New Jersey. I don't have to worry about him. He can call me sometime. That's okay. But so not true, guys. Because he sure can get in the truck and come to Jersey, Georgia. Yeah, and keep coming. And I thought I was so strong and I was done, but that was just a lie I told myself.
Hmm.
And I wasn't done till he was done. Done, done, as in dead. And I ain't saying it like it's definitely not a joke. But I couldn't I no matter how much I tried, I kept at it, and of course, I knew it was wrong. You know, early on, I tried to tell myself that don't laugh because this is real crazy how the mind works. You try to make right of something that you know is not right. I had to take it all the way back to junior high school. Well, he was my boyfriend first, anyway. So he should have married me. Well, he didn't. And we talking about the seventh and the eighth grade. So that doesn't justify my actions. So they're not justifiable. It was wrong and I did it and I couldn't break loose.
And we probably gonna have to talk about that. That's another topic when we talk about soul ties. Because I know for me, I prayed, I fasted, I had the whole world fast, meaning
Mm,
my circle, and nothing happened.
mm.
And here again, we're talking about dysfunction. We're talking about generational curses. You know how important therapy is, and then figuring out why we do what we do, and how can we change that.
And now, when you said that, something else came to my mind again about mimicking our parents, even if we don't, sometimes we don't understand or we don't even feel like we're paying attention so deeply, but maybe we are. And definitely not passing the blame because I knew I was wrong and continued. So this is not playing passing, playing the blame game. It's not doing that at all. But I can say that once I got a little older, I realized that my mom was in a relationship with somebody else's husband as well, maybe more than one for all I know. But this one I didn't put it together when I was a kid, but when we used to go to Boston to visit my grandma, she had a man that I knew, a big picture of him hanging on her wall. Again, didn't piece it all together till I was an adult. But I wondered, now, I'm not going to say his name because, I never know who will watch this video, and I'm going to let the dead rest in peace. I'm not going to mention the name, but I knew that guy, and I was like, I had wanted to know how my grandma knew him because I knew him from coming to my house when I was a kid with his wife. They were all friends, my mom and dad, and um, that couple and a few other couples. They were friends, so I didn't understand why a big old picture of him was hanging on my grandmother's wall, my maternal grandmother. Why did she have him on her wall? And I would hear her referring to him as tall, dark, and handsome. And I later learned that uh, that was my mother's man. So I don't know. All of that comes to my mind when I think about my behavior.
Right?
You know.
And how dysfunction is handed down from generation to generation until we say stop, until we say no more. So tell me, when did you start owning your truth?
Um, I can't tell you no date, um, because I feel like I've always owned my truth, you know. Like I'm telling you now, I knew it was wrong, but I followed my heart, and I wasn't really thinking about anybody else, just myself. And yeah, I was satisfying myself. So I always owned my truth.
Hmm. How did you decide?
I'm scared of this question. I'm scared. I'm scared.
No, um, it took for me. I would say it took a lot for you to put your business out there, and I see that as in a sense of owning your truth. Because it's good to write it in a journal to cleanse and to free yourself, but actually publishing it and self publishing it, I think that too is part of owning your truth. So, how did you decide to change the dialogue
Mm.
of who Renee was and who Renee is and who Renee want to be?
Well, I'll say that I was introduced to God before I moved to Jersey. I'll say I was introduced to God. My sister was very religious, and she continued to invite me to her church. You know, she was the calm one, and I was the wild one. And I decided to go to her church when I found myself in a rat infested apartment with my kids, and I was afraid, but it was all I could afford. And so my sister went to church, and her church, they must have had church 5 days a week. So it was a place I could go, and my four kids could go with me. They could have fun, with children's church. And whether I was understanding anything they was preaching about or not, I was in a safe place, and I didn't have to go home to the home I was afraid of until it was late. Like, I even bought a cat, because they said, they got the rumors about up north is the rats,
Hmm.
but it wasn't no rats, it was mice, but I call them rats. I don't care. And I bought a cat and was scared of the cat too. So I was scared of the cats and the rats. But it's like you gotta do something because you don't have no choice.
Yeah.
This is where you gotta stay until the building caught on fire. But so that's how I was introduced to God in that way. But I didn't really learn how to walk with God until I moved because it was some drama going on there too. But we ain't that's another conversation. Um, but then I learned to have a real relationship with God once I moved to Georgia.
Hmm.
So then I didn't say I changed my ways, but I started getting convicted and learning more. And look, and now I forgot what your question was, but that's how I started to turn my life around when I really started developing a relationship with God once I moved to Georgia because it was just me and my kids. So
Right.
yes, my friend still trucked on down to my place, and I was still so happy to see him. But all that time, God was working on me. And it wasn't an overnight success, or how the scriptures say, joy come in the morning. Well, it didn't come in the morning, but it came.
Yes. Tell us about your life as a single mom.
How much you want to know? Where you want
What
me to start that at?
What were some of the lessons? What would you tell? I can't say a younger version of you, but what would you tell a young mother struggling to raise four children on her own, two boys, two girls? What are some words of advice would you give to her?
Mm, that's pretty deep. I'll save that for next time. No, let me think. What's some advice I could give to a young mom that she'll make it? It ain't easy, but I wouldn't advise her. I guess the best way I could advise her maybe reading my book, and that's not the answer. That's not the way to go. So if you could learn anything from me, um, some of it is don't do what I did. That's not necessarily the answer. I did a lot of things to make sure my kids had something to eat.
What are
Yes,
three
I
lessons that
always
you
work.
learned? Three lessons that you learned
Three lessons that I learned is
from being
that
a single mom that you would
I
tell.
can do it because I did it. So that's one lesson. Second lesson is that you can raise the kids and they are all right. They can turn out all right. I feel like all four of my children have made me proud.
Amen.
So are they perfect? No.
None of us are.
Do they go through their trials and tribulations? Yes, they do. But I feel like I didn't do such a bad job. So um, have some confidence in yourself. You can do it. It gets hard. Don't leave your kids behind. You know, you can do it. And sometimes it might be that one person, could be that one person to help you, or that one person to say something to you to give you that oomph you need to keep putting one foot in front of the other. It was definitely a hard. It wasn't an easy road to travel, but if I had it to do all over again, I still would have them.
Amen.
And I probably, sorry to say, I would have the same 4.
Yeah.
And that I don't have I got three baby daddies, y'all, okay? And I would still have all the same 4 kids. Not gonna apologize for that. So what's the third thing? Mm, what is the third thing? You know what? The third thing is, maybe develop some type of spirituality young. Cause I was already in my 30s. I had already had the 4 kids by the time I started having a relationship with God. So it would be great if you had a relationship with God, and I don't mean church, because sometimes that can discourage you,
Yes.
but to develop some type of spirituality um, would definitely help you on your path as a single parent.
So having a relationship with your creator,
Yes.
with your higher
Whoever your
being.
creator might be. I'm not saying that you need to be a Christian. I'm not saying you need to be a Muslim or a Buddhist, but you need to have a higher power, and that will get you over some really tough places. It was Christianity and Jesus that got me where I needed to be with my kids. Um, but I think, yeah, you need a higher power, and that will help you.
Let me ask you this now. Thank you for sharing the lessons that you learned and how it has helped you. One thing you said is having that person that will give you the that will basically, I guess you're trying, I'm not sure, but my interpretation is that you're saying that someone that would encourage you.
Yes.
Okay, that's so important. It is really important to have and cheerleaders in your life that see the wisdom and the potential in you and what you can be, and to have them in your corner to support them. And I really believe that we as a people should definitely have a support, a safety net. And that's one of the things that we lack as single parents or as a community, is not having, no longer having those safety nets. Because most of us moved away, just like you moved away from Poughkeepsie to Jersey, and from Jersey to Atlanta. It's difficult being a single mother, trying to raise children by yourself and not having a safety, a support network. You get beat down by with life, with work, and even with your own community.
And
What
people are so judgmental also,
all the time.
Oh my
That's why I said
God.
we beat people down. We use social media to beat other people down instead of saying, well, how can I lift up that person? Like that young woman who didn't have anyone to watch her child, who needed to go take that one test so she can graduate from nursing school. Instead of saying, well, hey, bring him by me that I can watch him for you just for that, for 2 hours, 3 hours. We didn't do it. We chose to beat her up. What, and we talk about the 3 lessons of single mothers. What lessons would you tell your teenage granddaughter? Let's say your 14, 15-year olds. Because, once they turn that corner preteen, a lot of them start smelling themselves. The hormones start, coming out, and they just want to live. But they don't have the wisdom that comes, or the knowledge that comes with living and experiencing. From what you've been through, you talk about promiscuity and having a lenient mom and being able to be out there. What you gonna tell your granddaughters?
Oh, I've already had to tell my granddaughter, the one that's 23, I've already had to tell her some things, because she's a nice looking young lady, and the men are already telling her to, you know, not that all of them not telling the truth, but yeah, they already making her smell herself, as you say.
Mm-hmm.
And I just tell her, girl, no. I can tell when I know a lot more than she does. So I just
Mm-hmm.
tell her the truth. No, don't get no little track record. You ain't got to sleep with them, and sometimes they're older, and they come with the money. That's where my expertise lie. Don't fall for it. You got your own job. You're an entrepreneur. Mm-mm. They just trying to lure you, and all they want is what's underneath them panties, and then they're out of there. So that's how
Right.
I tell my granddaughter, because she able to understand that.
Right.
And I hope she listen, because just because I'm telling her and just because I'm keeping it real, as they say, that don't mean she gonna listen. Sometimes they have to experience it for themselves. But I'm praying that that's not her, that she don't have to, she could listen to some of the stuff I said and see my path and where I came from, and that she will not do it. That this generational curse is stops here with me.
Amen. 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 Thank you so much. So tell us about your books. Tell us I thank you for the books that you have given me. Like I said, the first book had me sitting there. I read it, you know, when I got the opportunity to open it up, I read it right through. And I hadn't done that in a long time with a book. So tell me about that first book.
Here's the first book, guys. Out of the first book title is, because that doesn't look clear, but it's Out of the Gutter and Into His Grace. And the title is exactly what it means. Out of the gutter and into his grace. I was in the gutter, but now I'm into his grace.
Amen.
It's just
What
that
kind?
simple.
Give us like one or two little tidbits. What are some
Like
of the
what, boo?
things?
Like, boo, what you want? You know the tidbits. You done read the book. Like what you trying to draw out of me now?
Well, give us some highlights. Give us one or two highlights. You're like, oh, I got to get that book. Tell us how we can support you.
Well, you can.
Why should I support you? Tell
Okay,
us.
let me tell you this right quick. If you want a raw, honest book, some of it is a little explicit, but I want to say that I think it was. You could tell me if I'm right or wrong, Carla. Um, it was very well seasoned. I do have adult children that I demand respect from, so therefore I have to respect them too. So even though my book is raw, I still think it was very well seasoned. So, and it's explicit, but it's kind of like maybe some of it's like the old time movies when they let you um visualize stuff in your mind. It wasn't out there like it is now. Now it's just porn. You go to the movies, it's just out there. So, you could draw your own picture, I guess, if I'm saying that right. um my books are on Amazon and other platforms, but I encourage you to go to my website. And Carla, you know how to do all that stuff about plugging it into the thing, because I don't know how to do all that yet. But it's my website is www.lifesandopenbook.com, but it's spelled Life and a Z like zebra, ANOPENBOOK. Life's an open book, but it's not a S for life. It's a Z. That's the only difference. And because Amazon, when you buy from Amazon, that's fine if that's where you like to purchase your books, but you can get a autographed copy
No,
from
we're not.
me.
We're not gonna give Amazon that part. We
No,
need.
I'm about to tell them about Amazon, because Amazon takes 40% of the author's money, and then Amazon never lets me know you bought the book. I just get that little residual, probably ain't nothing but a little $5 every 3 months. So I tell everybody, if you know the author, or if the author has a website and you truly want to support the author, go to the author's website, not Amazon, because we
Yeah.
don't never know when you buy it from Amazon.
Amen. And Miss Pauline put in there. She wants you to. Explain the meaning of the symbol you used on the cover of the book.
Oh, hey, Pauline on here. Pauline, I can't see none of that, so I'm just hanging out with Scipio. I can't see who's on here, none of that. So, the symbol on my book, guys, is a lotus flower, and the lotus flower has a deep meaning to me. But I guess to just something that it says in my book, just like the lotus, we too have the ability to rise from the mud, bloom out of the darkness, and radiate into the world. The lotus flower grows in a swamp, and then when it blossoms, it's still beautiful. So I'm going to say, you know, my life, I was in the swamp, I was in the gutter, but I'm good now, and I blossomed, and look, and I feel like I came out pretty good. So I blossomed through the mud just like the lotus flower. Look up the meaning of lotus flower. It's a real deep meaning. And so my life is kind of like the lotus flower. I was in the mud, I was in the swamp, but I'm beautiful. I bloomed through all of that.
You're still
Thanks,
blooming.
Pauline. I'm
You're still
still blooming.
blooming.
I'm still blooming, y'all. I'm still blooming.
If you have any questions for author J. Renee, please type it in the chat. You do have to give permission to StreamYard, but just type it in the chat. We appreciate the fact that you took this time off on a Sunday evening where you can be somewhere else doing different things and that you chose to spend it with us. We're definitely about having generational conversations amongst women of color. And when I say intergenerational conversations, I'm talking about women of many different ages because we can be a blessing to each other. Miss Pauline says that she said that Renee, that you are that flower, and it's been wonderful watching you grow.
And I like to point out, like I said, when we were talking about the single mothers, sometimes it just takes that one person, it might even be a smile that the person need. But Pauline, that's in the chat now. Um, she was that one person I needed. I always talked about writing, and I had my manuscript, and we worked together in different positions. She was in the HR department, I was in the admissions department, but of course we would see each other. You got to go to HR sometime. And I learned she was a author, and I gave her a little piece of my manuscript and told her to tell me what she thought. And she did. And it was years later, once she retired, that she started, helping people write their stories. And I seen her at a function, and she got up and spoke, and she God laid it on her heart to help me, and she did just that. So she's the one that helped me start my authorpreneurship, and I really appreciate her for doing that, because had she not, I may not have ever got the book from under my bed with the cobwebs growing on it. So she got me started, and now I can't stop.
So that's a good note because Gwen Barber wants to know when should we expect the third book.
Okay, Gwen Barber. I gotta tell y'all, this funny. Um, Gwen Barber is my friend of 50 years. Okay.
Wow.
Yes, and oh my God, God have has blessed me with some wonderful friends. We've been through a lot of storms together. And she's one of my biggest cheerleaders, and I appreciate her. She's paved the way for me for a lot of things. And when you can expect the next book, I'm going to let this one ride a little bit. So I guess next year you'll have the sequel to the first book. I'm already writing that.
Yes, it's
And
already in
Pauline's
motion.
going to help me with that one too. Let me put that in the air. Let me put that in the universe.
One of the things I want to add that you mentioned Miss Pauline, and you mentioned, I believe you were talking about Terry's function when you mentioned when Miss
I sure
right.
was. Yep.
One of the things I must say that a lot of the people that are watching are women that we worked with, that we all worked together. Although Pauline and I worked in the same place, I didn't meet her. Um, but I'm so grateful for the support and the acknowledgement that we gave and offered and shared and prayed and pushed and encouraged us, that we are all walking in women doing what we like doing today. Miss Pauline wants to know, what have you learned of yourself as a writer?
I learned that I could reach people through my writing. I didn't, I guess I wasn't sure about that, but I've reached several people, even quite a few strangers, and I've developed some friendships actually in my from somebody reading my book. I've developed some friendships. So I've learned that I can reach people, and I've also learned that there's a lot of people that have had similar experiences that I have. So I've learned a lot, probably more than I could even tell you on this conversation we having. But I've learned a lot, and I'm sure it's a lot more to learn. I learned that people don't like you to tell the truth too, because when they recognize themselves, and they don't have to share that because I didn't tell anybody's name, so you know, but people know it's them, and some people don't like you to share the truth, but we don't live in this world alone. So, just be careful. You never know. You might stumble up on an author, and it's not that I'm sharing their life, but they were a part of mine. So, oh well, be careful how you treat people. You never know. You never know. You might read about yourself in a book.
So again, I missed that end part, y'all.
I said, be careful how you treat people. It could be good or bad. You you reap what you sow, and every time we say that, you always think it's bad, but you reap good too. So you
Yeah,
sow good, you reap good, but you
right.
sow bad, and not necessarily reap bad, but you might be in one of my books depending on how you treat me.
Well, I guess I don't have to worry about how you gonna write about what you gonna write about me. Because either way,
Stop it.
one of the things I've learned is
I
to
might
walk.
have encouraged somebody to write a book, and I might be in it,
Yeah.
but
So I'm good. I'm
blessings,
good with that.
blessings.
I'm so good with that. Um, Anybody have any other questions, any concerns that they want to share with us? Make sure you listen, guys. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm coming. Um, Carla Scipio, and I'm Carla with a K. Last name is Scipio, Scipio, and you can follow me on Instagram at I am Carla Scipio. One of the things that we do is, my passion is for broken and wounded women of color. I'm talking about those, the broken dead, the wounded dead, those that are living life but not thriving, those that are stopped and don't know how to move forward. So that's why it's important that we have these intergenerational conversations, so we can learn from each other, learn about each other, encourage each other, inspire each other, and then we can pray together and work together so we all can be healed. Because I don't want to be healed by myself and I ain't got nobody to sit down and to talk with or work with to go out
Oh,
and
it's
heal
about to
those
be
other
over
women.
now. It ended up
So
being on
it's so
YouTube.
important. I come from a family, I
It
believe,
was
with
Facebook Live
storytellers.
too. She
My
said.
grandmother loved a good story, and I would sit on the floor while she sewed, and she would tell me the same stories over and over, and I'd be dying, I'd be laughing and carrying on because I saw how she laughed, and I believe that too. That is part of why I do what I do. Why it's so important to share these stories so we learn about our history. And Renee, your grandchildren will know about what you struggled. And at one point they would get old enough that they wouldn't care if it's raw, as long as it was authentic and it was real. And it made a lot of difference in the life of others. Yes, my YouTube channel is in place, Pauline. So I really appreciate you owning your truth. I appreciate the fact that you push past being uncomfortable, getting on Facebook Live,
Oh my God, I did.
get on the laptop. That's what we're here for. We're here to push, encourage, and
she
inspire. So
she
you
pushed
got
me, y'all. She pushed me because I said no. I want to do it on my phone. That's how I want to do it. That's how I do it. I do it on my phone. I don't. I'm always bucking, like working from home. I don't want to do that. I don't want to work from home. That's not what I want to do. In my 60s. I don't want to do that. I want to. I don't like all this electronic stuff. Call me. I don't want to text you. I want to talk. But she pushed me past it, and I'm on my laptop,
look.
guys.
I just let her rant and rave.
And I rant and rave all the time.
And push back. I'm like, no, you might as well get used to it because this is gonna be something that we're gonna be using and talking. And if you're gonna do what you say you're doing, you got to do it. You have to do it.
I
And
ain't
I just
like her for a minute, I love her, but I was like, she
it's
getting on
okay.
my nerves.
I don't. You know what? I'm at the point now. I'm in my 60s too. I ain't. I don't.
Pauline know how I do. I'm like, she getting on my nerves
Pauline,
now. I said I
she
want
was
to do it on
off
my
the
phone.
chain. She was definitely off the chain. But I just let her rant and rave, and she did it. I was like, I don't care what you say or do, but you're gonna do this right here without me having to say that.
Well, I certainly hope. Thank you for having me on your YouTube channel and having this conversation. And I hope it helps somebody. And even if it helped you not to go down the path I went, then I helped you. And just remember the lotus flower. We can all live like the lotus. We can bloom through the mud. And I have. And we can't hear you, Carla Scipio.
I'm multitasking. Not
Oh, are you?
only, yeah, when someone just walked through the door and their tackle fell on the floor, someone had to edit this out at the end. But I appreciate everyone. I appreciate
He's
everyone
sorry.
for coming out.
You did good. He didn't butt in till the end.
You're good. You're good. So I appreciate it. But you know what? That's life. And we don't have to be fake. We don't have to hide the funk or anything like that. That's part of being family. And I thank God for, like I was saying, I was making a point when I talked about the hospital family. When I moved to Georgia, I didn't have any family per se. My family were hundreds of miles away in New York, but God gave me a family.
Y'all don't want to know how I moved to Georgia.
He created a family. Well, we're gonna say that for the next conversation because one of the things that y'all we want to talk about is parenting adults. We want to talk about relationships. And we have so much conversations and things that we want to talk about. It's so important that we come together and we talk and build up our tribe. We got to build up our tribe.
And don't forget to get the books, guys.
And
And
don't
that way you'll
forget,
learn how I moved to Georgia in this book right here. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm just gonna say God is truly good, and you know,
is please support Jay Renee. Um, because we're at the point where one of the things that we've worked for others all our lives, and now we're at that threshold where we're going to be walking into working for ourselves. So we do have. Thank you for loving my guest, Jay Renee. So we do have an end date for working for the establishment, and we see ourselves 2023 working on our own entrepreneurial journey, walking it through. So, Renee, Henry, I really appreciate you. I thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule. I thank you for coming on and joining with me and helping me to, even if we just plant the seed, we've done an awesome job. I appreciate you.
and I
Again,
appreciate you too, and all the people that joined, and the ones that'll watch the replay. I appreciate you.
amen. All right, see you guys next time.
Okay, bye.
Mommy Thomas said you look beautiful, Renee.
Thank you so much. All right, now let me